Hi, boys and girls. Today, during our Zoom at 2 o'clock, we will be talking again about making inferences or inferring. And we're going to do case file number 1 together on Zoom. We are going to practice a little bit for this video on case file number 3 called the blanket bandit. And if you remember, if you are inferring, that means that you are taking information from a passage and the things you know and making a smart guess as to what you think is happening or what the outcome will be. So, top secret, case file number 3, the blanket bandit. You will have 4 cards or 4 clues to read about giving clues. And once you read clue number 1, it says, "Why is Ben about to cry?" And you will type your answer in clue number 1. So let's read and find out why Ben is about to cry. There's an emergency situation on Hartman Lane. It's Ben's house, and Ben is on the verge of tears. You see, Ben has had a bad day already. He had no one to sit with at lunch. It rained, and his field trip was canceled. And his favorite shoes are soaked because he stepped in a big puddle on the way home. Now he just wants to build a fort and hide from everything with his dog, Duke. But he can't build a fort without his secret ingredient, his Superman blanket. So, if we listen to that story carefully, why is Ben about to cry? And yesterday I talked about on our Zoom that when we write an answer, we need to make sure that we restate the question and then type our answer. So why is Ben about to cry? We're going to say Ben is about to cry because he has had a bad day and he wants to build a fort but cannot find his blanket. So that tells us why Ben is about to cry. They told us he had a bad day. He stepped in puddles. We could even give more details. He stepped in a puddle. He didn't have anybody to sit with at lunch. But the biggest factor is that he can't find his blanket to build his fort. All right, so now we're going to go back up to our cards. And clue number 2 says, where did Ben look for his Superman blanket? Ben's Superman blanket isn't just any blanket. It is the perfect fort building blanket. It is big enough to stretch across his bedroom and is light enough that it won't collapse on his head. The Superman blanket is the key ingredient for making the best fort, and without it, Ben's day just keeps getting worse. Ben started by looking in all the regular spots. The blanket wasn't in the hall closet or under his bed. It wasn't tucked in the dryer either. Duke even helped Ben look everywhere they could think of. Man, that's a bummer, isn't it? Because building forts with blankets is so fun. I have done lots of forts in my years with blankets. All right, so where did Ben look for his blanket? Let's go back up and look in the passage. Let's find the evidence. It says he started looking in the regular spots. The blanket wasn't in the hall closet or under his bed, and it wasn't in the dryer either. So we're going to go down to clue number 2. And remember, we're going to restate the question. The question was, where did Ben look for his blanket? So we're going to say, Ben looked for his blanket in the hall closet, under his bed, and in the dryer. So does that answer the question? Does it tell where Ben looked for his blanket? Yes, under his bed, in the hall closet, and in the dryer. All right, let's go back to clue number 3. Where was the blanket? Where was the blanket the other times it was missing? All right, so obviously he's misplaced his blanket before. Ben remembered that the last time that the Superman blanket was missing, it was because his mom was washing it. Duke had grabbed it and drug it outside into the mud in the backyard. Ben ran to the washing machine to check if it was there. No luck. Last month, when the Superman blanket went missing, Ben's dad hung it on the clothesline in the yard. Duke had grabbed it and drug it outside to the corner of the backyard, and Dad had found it, shook it out, and hung it up. So that tells us 2 places where it has been before when it's been missing. So where was the missing blanket the other times? So one time it was in the washing machine. And the last time it went missing, Dad took it and hung it up on the clothesline outside. So let's type in that answer. And we're going to say the last time the Superman blanket went missing, it was in the dryer and on the clothesline. Maybe we should put the last few times the Superman blanket went missing. It was in the dryer and on the clothesline. All right, perfect. And the last clue that we're going to read, clue number 4, what did Ben see around Duke's neck? Ben raced to the clothesline on the side of the yard. No luck. I've looked everywhere, yelled Ben. Today is just not my day. He was almost ready to cry when he looked down at Duke. Ben's canine companion was looking up at him with his head tilted. Around his neck was a small blue and red piece of ribbon that looked a lot like the ribbon from the outer edge of the Superman blanket. Duke, do you know something that you're not telling me? Asked Ben. Sounds like Duke likes the blanket too. So what did Ben see around Duke's neck? Let's go back up into the passage. I think that's the best way, and find the evidence. So it says, he tilted his head. Around his neck was a small blue and red piece of ribbon that looked a lot like the ribbon from the outer edge of the Superman blanket. So, what was around Duke's neck? Duke had a small piece of ribbon that was blue and red around his neck. The piece of ribbon looked very similar to the Superman blanket's edge. All right, so now that we have all the clues figured out and the questions that went with them, we can solve this case. It says, who moved the blanket and how do we know? So let's go back up and look at our clues. Ben is about to cry because he's had a bad day and he wants to build a fort, but he can't find his blanket. Clue number 2 says Ben looked for his blanket in the hall closet and under his bed and in the dryer. He still couldn't find it. Clue 3 says the last few times the Superman blanket went missing, it was in the dryer and on the clothesline, but again, that was a no-go this time. And clue number 4 said Duke had a small piece of ribbon that was blue and red around his neck. The piece of ribbon looked very similar to the Superman blanket's edge. So, who moved the blanket? And this is where you get to tell what an awesome detective you are. You say, I know, because you're going to tell people for sure what you know because you've read and you've done research. I know that Duke probably moved the blanket because he has a small ribbon around his neck that is red and blue, just like the Superman blanket. I also think it was Duke because he has taken the blanket before and mom had to wash it and dad had to hang it on the clothesline. So we've given even some extra information because if you've noticed, Duke kind of has a pattern of obviously taking the blanket. If he's taken it outside and gotten it in the mud and mom's had to wash it, and then dad found him with it one day and he had to take it and shake it out and hang it on the clothesline, I would say Duke likes that blanket too. So making inferences is easy if you either look at the clues in a picture or read and listen to the clues in a story. You should be able to make a very smart guess as to what you think is happening or what you think is going to happen next. Tomorrow, you'll get to do a practice of your own case file number 2. Good luck.